Hi, and welcome to the CAFMA Connect. I'm your host, Fire Chief Scott Freitag, and with me today, Assistant Chief John Feddema. Sorry, John.
Yeah, whatever.
I've
been called worse.
Yeah, true. Well, it's good to be back. I know I've been gone the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. You filled in last week. Thank you for doing that with Debbie. Yes. And it's been a while since you and I have been on, so we know that the ratings are going to go down.
Yeah, that's right.
That is okay. But, you know, we're not a metro-sized organization, but we're a growing organization, maybe mid-size. Mm-hmm. What's in between small and middle?
I think mid-size works fine.
Mid-size, okay. Organization, and because we're growing, there's a lot of things changing, a lot of things happening. And so wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. So we know we're hiring right now a fire prevention specialist, closes the 1st of October. Human resource and administrative specialist closes, I think October 18th is what I was told. Is that right, Kathy? Close?
Yep.
Did you just cuss on the air?
I said sure and yep at the same time.
Okay. It just kind of
close,
mashed together.
You might want to put a little beep in there
maybe
too.
Right.
Bleep it.
And so, but the one that's open, that was kind of a surprise, unfortunately, to us, but that is open today, as a matter of fact, the day we're recording, which is Wednesday, September 27th, is an assistant chief administration. So we discussed it this afternoon, and we have multiple plans.
Sure, yes. Yeah, I didn't know we were going to let those plans out. I thought those were super secret.
I think it's good to let the plans out so that people applying know what the plan is. So plan A is that we fly the position, we bring people in, and we find a good candidate, and we hire that person, they accept the position. Okay. Plan B, if plan A doesn't work, is potentially some restructuring internally. But if we get through plan A and it doesn't work and we get to plan B and we still think, maybe not, then plan C is to revert back to plan A.
Brilliant.
And try again in January.
Yeah. No,
and then if that doesn't work, we go to plan D, which is revert to plan B.
No, it sounds solid to me.
Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
I think we've got it. Kathy, does that work?
Foolproof.
What do you think? Foolproof plan?
It did seem like that was supposed to be a secret.
I don't think. I think it's important to get it out because people ask for transparency, and we're being transparent.
Well, and I think that transparency, if Plan A includes an internal candidate as well,
right,
then that may be the best fit as well. So you never know.
Absolutely, because this is an internal and external testing process.
Yep.
And let's talk about that a little bit. In our team, we're really looking for some versatility because Dave was really focused on administration.
Sure.
Right. Whereas I always felt that Cody could be plugged in, doing a great job in planning logistics, but Cody would be good in admin. He'd also be good in operations. I've always felt that you would be good in planning logistics or admin, and you're doing a good job in operations. So there's that versatility that exists with the two of you. So if we bring in another candidate, whether internal or external, that brings that versatility to the table, there's an opportunity for us to consider in 3 or 4 years making a shift to give the assistant chief some exposures to some other areas in the organization for focus.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time to discuss, that versatility also. But I know we talked about it as a senior staff, just the three of us, between you, me, Cody, the other day. And obviously, I'm not raising my hand saying, hey, stick me over there. But if that makes sense for the organization and where we're at and maybe the next candidate coming in, I'd gladly move.
Right.
And I think it's like anything else in the organization, duties is assigned.
Yes.
And if that's where the need is, I'll help fill the need. But I didn't raise my hand, but I'd certainly look forward to the mentorship you
It was
could
like a partial.
Yeah.
A partial. You stuck a couple of fingers up and was like, listen, if push comes to shove,
yes,
I could do this. Because I know that we had talked about at one point in the future, hopefully, when I retire, as opposed to other reasons that I would no longer be here, that you would be interested in the fire chief position. And so moving and looking in that direction, having some exposure in the administrative space would be good because that is a lot of the functions of the fire chief. The overarching look at the budget, the overarching look at human resources, because I am involved in that, and administration to a lesser extent. Not the day to day of finance, but having that exposure and that ability to dive more deeply into the budget would be good for someone who would like to be the fire chief.
Yeah.
So, there's possibilities there and opportunity. It's not that we weren't hoping that Dave would move on to the next chapter. Sure. That wasn't what we wanted, but this is where we are. Yeah. And I think it's important to point out too, because Dave left just 2 weeks ago today, was his last day here. And we're already posting the position. So for those who feel like, oh my God, this is so soon, why would you do that? We're up against the holiday season.
Yeah.
And we need to get this position posted, because right now, you, Cody, and I are sharing the duties of the administrative chief and doing our jobs.
Sure.
And for you, you're already well past your, now I forget the term.
I thought you were going to say prime.
No, could be prime, but 3.
Kathy.
I was talking to your wife recently.
That was amazing.
Your span of control.
Oh,
3 to 7,
That's
right?
much better than
you're already at 8.
Yeah.
So now you're at 9.
Okay.
So it's important that we get that out.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we have going that just started Monday this week is the new Recruit Academy.
Yeah.
So we have 10 fresh candidates in the Recruit Academy. We're about, 50-50 on Firefighter 1 and 2, not Firefighter 1 and 2?
I think I thought our last count I heard was 7 that didn't have it.
Okay.
And which I think is important to remember. There were some rumors going around that we had lost 1 to Phoenix, or possibly 2 to Phoenix. And so I called Dustin on Monday and asked him. And the response I got was kind of funny, because he's like, I think 10. I think I counted 10.
Yeah.
So he went back and confirmed his count. And yes, all 10 showed up and are out there working hard.
Well, what's interesting is I was there yesterday and just gave them a brief welcome to the organization. And when I was sitting there, I'm not good with math, but I counted 10.
We have 10 new recruits,
which is what we expected.
Yep. And we need them all.
That absolutely we do. Do some of them live in the valley? They do, absolutely. Sure. And that's great. Their willingness to drive up here, I think, says something about our organization. Sure. And hopefully we'll be able to maintain all 10 personnel moving forward.
Yep.
But it seems like a good group of folks. Have you interacted much with them yet?
I have not. I've stopped in a couple of times, but they're all, every time I've stopped in, they've been getting instructed.
Right.
And so I've left them be. So.
Well, I sat in the back of the room yesterday, and then when they came back from a break, I asked if I could have just a couple minutes with them. And I talked to them, because some of the feedback that we've heard recently is the recruits are coming to the field and they feel like they've already made it. I'm like, I haven't seen that. And or they're coming to the field and they've been filled, their heads have been filled with, this is all a family environment and it's all part of the culture, and you're just going to receive a hug when you walk in the building. And let's be clear, none of that is true or accurate. But I did talk to them yesterday, and I said, look, your attitude is your choice throughout your career. I would love to sit here and tell you that we can assign you to any of the 10 stations on any of the 3 shifts, and that you're just going to find a utopian fire service world.
Sure.
And you're not.
No, absolutely not.
I also set the expectations that, listen, the mundane things here in the academy are very important that you pay attention to, because they're important when you get in the field. I said, you also have to understand when you get in the station that a lot of station life is the mundane.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important to connect with your crew, maintain the positive attitude, but it's mundane with the occasional interruption of an adrenaline rush because of the type of call.
Yeah, for sure.
But you should approach every call as if it's important, because it is. To the person who called 911, it's important.
Yeah, and you never know the opportunity to influence someone's life, whether it's a structure fire and you're trying to, search the structure, or if it's a medical call, which is majority of what we run.
Sure.
And, I think it was 61 had a code save the other day, and where they cracked an individual, and I could be off on the engine, but they did a fantastic job and saved the individual's life.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
amazing.
You never know when that opportunity will come, and you want to be prepared. We want folks to be prepared, but you also want to show up with the right attitude.
Absolutely. And that, again, that's an individual. Whether you're a new recruit or you're in the station today, your attitude is your choice.
Sure.
It's what you make of it. Your ability to come in here and enjoy your job or to feel like this is a weight around your shoulders is on you. We provide a lot of opportunities. I think I want to have Dustin on again or Eric to talk about what does the schedule look like at CARTA for the year? For each year, what type of programs are we bringing in? And then what types of training nomination forms are you seeing throughout the year for training in other places?
Yeah. No, I think that'd be good. And it's always interesting. I look at the board now, and certainly for some of the folks that are newer in the organization, it'd be interesting to show what it looked like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And they've certainly, the schedule's jam-packed. And there's a lot of opportunity that didn't exist before.
Right. Now, you came up through this organization, and then you were the training chief. When you were the training chief, how many training nomination forms did you decline to accept? Was it a lot, a few?
I don't know if I can recall any.
Really?
There might have been times when it was pushed back before the nomination form got there, but there wasn't very often even that we did that.
So what I'm hearing you say is that typically if our personnel submit for a program, whether in-state, out-of-state, locally, regionally, whatever it is, typically they're approved when they come in and ask for a program.
Yeah, I would say we're probably, and I haven't talked to Dustin about it, we're probably getting to the point where we'll have to reevaluate that a little harder, not just because of programs. I know you and I talked about a specific program that we will probably have to provide more information about in the future, the near future. But at the same time, we're seeing a lot more, we have more personnel, and so we have to find a decent balance. So the good thing is people are putting in nominations. They're wanting to go get training. So I could see having to find that balance. I know I was talking to Dustin the other day. We are eating through our budget for training, for outside training, very quickly.
Good.
So we'll have to kind of be mindful of that. But yeah, it's like I say, very few people have gotten turned down to go get training. And if there have been, it's usually for a specific reason outside of even the budget.
Right. So. And typically in advance of the next fiscal year, training is seeking, not requests for outside training, but hey, what are some programs you would like to see here?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So there's always room for input. And I know that it's encouraged if you go to training, bring back what you learned and share it and see if we can develop a program around it or have you present something.
Yeah, and sometimes folks don't know what that looks like. But if you go to a training, I don't care if they're 1 year on or 20 years on, one of the best places to start is your crew with providing that training. Let your crew vet some of that, because sometimes you can go to a training and it may not apply in our area for various reasons. But the best way to start with your crew.
Yeah.
And if it works out for the crew, then start with your battalion and go through your battalion chief. Like, hey, I'd like to provide this drill. I learned this information. And if it's good, then usually it continues to grow.
And even for me, typically when I come back from something, I'll provide an overview or a brief. Hey, here's where I was. Here's what I did. Here's what I was exposed to. And this last week I was in Anchorage for the Western Fire Chiefs Association President's Forum. And while I was there, I got a chance to hear about the Wildfire Commission and their report being released. Then I was provided a draft copy that was not public. And then today I was invited to watch a webinar where they unveiled, so to speak, the Wildfire Commission report, which is a federal report and will give us guidance moving forward as to how we approach our legislative folks, whether state or federal, on funding or challenges in the state or whatever it may be, to better our wildfire mitigation efforts, including within CAFMA
Yeah.
and looking at a more robust wildfire mitigation adaptive community program.
Yep.
So exposure to these things is important. It's encouraged.
Yeah.
And we certainly try to get folks out to training.
Sure.
As you mentioned, there is some training that is happening in the Phoenix area that we're going to hold on this year and take another look and reevaluate next year based on some things we've learned
Sure.
about the program. And then there's some other training within the occasionally that pops up that we take a look at to determine whether that is the right direction
Yeah.
for this organization. Because quite honestly, some of the training that we're seeing out there today is completely contrary to what years of study and data have shown.
Yeah, and I think there's like anything else, there's folks out there selling a product.
Oh, yeah.
And we just have to make sure that that product aligns with the standards and aligns with our organization and our values.
Well, and some, it's like a Kool-Aid stand. Not all Kool-Aid, as we've learned over the years, is good. John, sometimes there's problems. The Kool-Aid's poisoned.
Indeed.
So we have to be careful with that. But so just touching on some of the things that we have going on here, certainly positions open, Assistant Chief of Admin position being opened up. That's going to close, I believe, towards the end of October, and then we'll do interviews in November. We have the Recruit Academy that started. A lot of information about training that I think we need to bring onto the podcast and put out just so folks truly understand what the calendar looks like and what opportunities are there. Just so there's a better understanding. We're educating the masses, so to speak.
Yeah, and we did captain's chief's interview yesterday. We do battalion chief.
Oh, yeah.
Chief's interviews next week, and there'll be a lot of moving parts related to that. So.
It's like Legos or something, building blocks. We're just moving people around. So there will be a lot of movement in, say, the next, what are you thinking, 3 to 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think with the Chiefs interviews next week, I would expect that we're going to start those moves fairly quickly.
Okay.
And I would say, like I say, in the next 2 weeks probably, we'll see those moves. And I put some of that in the review last week, so go back if you need to and review that information. But yeah, it'll create movement all the way, down through captains, engineers, promotions. And obviously we have new recruits coming on. So all the way through the organization movement, that's opportunity, and I think it's a good opportunity.
Well, and just to touch on this, because normally, as we said, we did captain's interviews Chief's interviews on Tuesday this week. Yep. Normally we make announcements pretty quick. Usually that day notifications are made. This time around, we opted to take a step back and hold. And then we're going to see how the battalion chief's interviews go next week. We have to have some other conversations. And then we'll make final decisions and movements. It's a change from what we normally do, but it's a change we needed to make this time around.
Sure. Well, I think it'll be good to do those announcements next week and, take that next step.
Yeah. So lots of stuff happening. Please pay attention. We're sending information out. Read your emails, listen to the podcast, read the review, ask questions of the right people. And if you're not getting a good answer, just keep going up the chain until you get correct information. Is that accurate?
Sounds good.
Yeah, accurate information. Kathy, anything you'd like to add before we close out?
I'm still stuck on sometimes the Kool-Aid is poisoned.
Yeah. You got to be careful with the Kool-Aid.
And Legos. I didn't know we were going back to childhood here.
Absolutely.
But no, just really excited to see who we get in.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of opportunity here. So with that, Kathy, thank you again this week. John, thank you for coming on.
Indeed.
I know how much you enjoy this.
I do. Oh, it's
Yeah, you
great.
just love it.
Yep.
All right. Well, for all of you out there, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.